Hey guys, what's everybody up to this morning? If I could get a thumbs up or two once you guys see that I'm on. I drove to work very slowly today. It's still raining, like day three, so the roads are kind of slippery. And I only had kind of a little rundown to give you guys today anyway. Was it a rumor about foil being in Evelyn's throat? Wasn't able to catch up. They did not say that at all. I don't know if it was disputed during pretrial or what, or if I heard it and that never happened and I imagined it, which I can't imagine. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna have to do some research and look into why I believed that Evelyn was found with foil inside of her organs, because that was the biggest, I guess, gut punch for me overall in the end, is that they alluded that she was alive when she got put into the trash can. But listening to this Croatian sensation doctor, A plus plus plus, um, she gave four mechanisms of homicide basically, and all were asphyxiation, which basically means you suffocate. Excuse me. I get a little bit. And let me see. Hey, Molly. So, the case of Evelyn Boswell with her mother Megan being on trial has been horrific. It gets worse daily. Yesterday, while watching, we heard the fingerprint fingerprint expert, the DNA expert, the two medical examiners. The medical examiners both alluded that the ending result and um the case of Evelyn Boswell, she was ruled a homicide. OG Nanny, thank you so much. I love the little hearts. And welcome, Grey Wolf. Thanks for joining. Um, so asphyxiation, basically, no matter what, you are when you're 13 months old, first of all, they try to argue SIDS. SIDS happens when an unexplained death happens in a baby, usually 9 months max. As an EMT, that's what I've seen or heard of or read about, but the doctor officially said it was up to 12 months. Evelyn was 13 months when all of this occurred, so SIDS is highly unlikely, although I mean, I guess pigs could fly. And so they went through the fingerprints. Megan's fingerprints were lifted, and thank God for the fingerprint expert. They couldn't get a good view of the tip of her fingertip. And I guess when she picked up the trash can that Evelyn was found in, her absolute tippy top of her fingertip was located on the brim of the trash can. And so this fingertip expert kept asking for new fingertips, prints, and they would send him and it wouldn't be good enough. And so he actually physically went to location and physically took Megan's fingertip prints himself. And it was in fact determined that it was her fingertip print inside of the brim of that trash can, which bravo for him. All of these investigators and all of the people involved in this case that were um, assigned to prove Megan and her guilt in the unaliving of her baby did an excellent job. I mean, excellent. Um, there were a little bit of questions as far as DNA. They swabbed the inside of the water bottle. Of course, they got the infamous bubblegum piece. It did in fact conclude that Megan was in fact chewing the bubble gum that was in the trash can. And then the DNA samples at times had inconclusive results and have had some type of male DNA component. I wasn't understanding of that because when the um, defense asked her to clarify if there was in fact male DNA or if they hadn't had any samples to test it against, she stated there wasn't enough to even be able to test, or the component was shoddy. What that means really to me was that it was like an incomplete sample, maybe. But I mean, all I need to know after seeing the text messages with Hunter and her saying basically, come pick me up, and him being like, no, where's the baby? I mean, bravo, sir. Bravo. I don't want to. push any other type of any feelings towards Hunter at this point because he is incarcerated, but he is in a mental facility, I believe, because once you get accused of offing a baby, I don't really think there's much coming back from that. And he had some type of mental health issues prior to that. Plus his brother died. So um, I feel different towards Hunter. Yeah, I definitely feel different. I was starting to question whether or not Hunter was involved or not after I heard a couple of locals had known his family and had known him from being a child, and they had actually said that they believed that he had involvement. And I'm like, how is he like that would be bad if you know somebody as a child and you know how they are. Tater, I never thought he had anything to do with it. It's all yeah, I mean, we see that now. She's very manipulative. I gotta start talking extra slow. Manipulative. And she does a lot of the gaslighting techniques that we know of. Um, I mean, she seems like she's pure evil. You're right. Allegedly, she seems like she is absolutely evil. And then how can you sit there at the defense table like I would be sobbing? I can hardly listen to the testimony, and I've got nothing to do with this case. I don't know this baby. All I know is that this 15-month-old baby, well, 13, technically she was 13 months old. When they reported her missing, she was 15 months old. That alone is a problem in itself. So there's that. But the baby did not live past 13 months. At 13 months old, she was discarded in a trash bag, in a trash can, wrapped with tinfoil around her head and face. I mean, the defense has no defense, but it's like as part of their job, they have to try and argue it some sort of way. And so they argued it like, well, she accidentally rolled over the baby. Or they actually at first said not even that she rolled over the baby, that Hunter rolled over the baby, which just come on, stop grasping at straws. Like clearly you could have done a lot better if you would have went towards like the insanity. I mean, postpartum, even though postpartum also I don't think lasts after the baby's 13 months old. But I mean, anything is possible. So like let's say, if pigs could fly, she may have possibly had postpartum. But like they didn't go that route. They went the route of let's blame everybody else except for the mom, and the mom is the one that literally did it. So I heard one of the juries actually got sick by the smell of the courtroom. I don't doubt it. I mean, that's a smell that you don't forget. You don't um forget the smell of death. It's a distinct smell. It's very distinctive in all the components of death. Like you literally they go hand in hand. Thank you for super reporting. You're welcome, Helena. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a very blessed day. I hope everybody has a blessed day. We're gonna have to suck it all back up and go back into the freaking mix and listen again. And today is day 7, I believe, either 7 or 8. I lost count. And my original notebook I took notes in is the MIA. So I'm taking notes in a secondary notebook, and it's not as good because it's like my whole first half of my notes are missing. No real emotion at all. That's why I believe she's a sociopath, but I also think she has components of a psychopath. But I'm not psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, trained to actually diagnose her as anything, but she is cold-hearted. She seems calculated, and that's the thing that the Croatian doctor there at the end. Bravo. I mean, I'm Croatian, so maybe I have a bias, but she answered everything very meticulously and I think purposefully also, because at the end, I can't tell if she got in contempt of court if she didn't, but the defense attorney asked her a yes or no question whether or not it would be possible that Evelyn was already gone by the time that she got put into the trash bin. And this lady said something like, well, if she was murdered some other type of way, maybe. Like, and so the judge is like, you have to answer yes or no, or you're going to be held in contempt. The lady um, answered, but it was not a yes or no. And then they claimed that he had asked her a different question, which I did rewind and verify he did. So I don't know if she got contempt of court. She refused. I can't believe the defense lawyer. I still have trying to get her off. Have wondered, Judy. He has to. That's his job. He absolutely has to get her. off or get her a lighter sentence or make her look positive in some type of way. The Croatian doctor's facial expressions were priceless. Yeah, I think that's a Croatian thing because, like, I can't hide facial expressions either. Neither can my mother. So it's really weird. But it's like the defense lawyer has to um defend her. That's his job. And so then if he doesn't defend her, he's not doing his job. So that looks bad on him and his career and his job. I don't know how people do defense attorney is at work. It's like, especially when you can clear as day see all the pieces to the puzzle. Like, sir, can you not see what's right there in front of you? I'm sure he can. He can. He just uh, has to defend her. That's his job. That's just his job. That's what he gets paid to do. Hey, Jamie. I wouldn't put his job. I couldn't do his job because my facial expressions don't let me lie. Plus, I have a thing of where, like if I'm nodding and it's actually a no, like the answer is actually no, I'll be like saying no, but nodding, like, no. Like, and there's subconscious things that you and your body do in responses to being asked certain things. Like, it's easier to tell the truth than it is to lie. So you have to actually work on it when you're telling a lie. She reminds me of you all good, true looks based on. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's funny because she reminded me of my mother because it's like, and again, like I said, I'm wondering if it's like a Croatian trait or I thought it was like a European thing, but all of her mannerisms remind me of my mother, just because of the fact that, like, you take no shit, you don't, give in if, you fully believe in something or you feel certain way, you don't sway, and, that's definitely how she was. I mean, to her, there was no, uh, beyond a reasonable doubt, like, she's 150% certain that Evelyn was placed into the trash can by her mother, wrapped in several layers, asphyxiated, which means basically fancy term for suffocated, due to her being placed in the trash can and her being in the position that she's in. And that's why there's four mechanisms. So the manner of death is homicide, which means that she was unalived. And the mechanisms are, I think it's mechanisms. Asphyxiation, there was mechanical asphyxiation, positional asphyxiation. Um, what were the other two? There were four. But another thing it reminded me of is that where do you guys remember Sarah Boone? She had her boyfriend get into a suitcase, which dear God, please don't ever do that, people. Um, she had her boyfriend, they were supposedly playing hide and seek. He got into the suitcase. He became balled up. And with the way your diaphragm sits, you have to be able to be positioned a set way so you can take in air and so you can breathe and it can circulate throughout your body. Well, being in there for a set amount of time, you stop having the ability to circulate oxygen through your body due to your positioning. And so positional asphyxia, I believe, was one of the causes of death for um I hate that I can only think of Sarah Boone and the poor victim's name is like passing me by right now. Conviction by Friday. I mean, I agree. I don't know what the defense has. I thought we were going to see her mother and her mother's boyfriend, but I do believe they're heavily into rugs. You know what I mean without the D. So I don't know that there would be a character witness for either side. Did you find anything about Eric Smith? Change my name, but yeah, I didn't. Eric Smith is a very common name. I read about a couple of different threads on him that he was in school with them and that one of the other guys know. Did they share what was in Evelyn's system? No, they didn't. And I don't know, they might have disputed that at pretrial, and so that wasn't maybe allowed to be brought in as evidence, but I don't know. And I don't believe Jorge, George, is it Jorge or George? Probably Jorge. Poor victim of Sarah. She would not unzip him. And that, I mean, how do these people live with themselves? I can't even freaking tell a lie to somebody or be mean to somebody without like thinking about it the next day, much less like for a week later or 2 week. Like, I can't. I start feeling bad about myself. I actually start feeling like I have anxiety if I have to lie to somebody. It's terrible. I don't I don't know. I always say the fact that I can't lie very well is like my worst and my best trait. Caleb, yes, he's the one that said he was the daddy. Yes. Caleb, the guy that she was dating, that his mom made Evelyn all this stuff for her birthday with the baby sharks. He's the one that said that Eric was the dad and that he was even on the birth certificate. So, like, if he was on the birth certificate, where did Ethan come from? And why did she talk to Ethan from November on, like, as if he was Evelyn's dad? Like, did she? It's weird. I don't understand it. That's because you have morals. Not everyone has morals. Yeah, but it's like excessive. Like, most people can just tell a little lie. Like, they can just go about their business and tell a little tiny lie and be okay. I literally can't, like, I have to, and if I don't, okay, like if I'm in a situation and it's like I have to either lie or tell you the truth, I lie. And then like a minute later, I'll be like, yeah, I lied. It's so stupid. Like, and it's stupid stuff. It's not ever like anything that's like that matters. But I don't know. I just can't. So, in the end, yesterday we ended with the chief medical examiner. She didn't do the autopsy. She did the review of the autopsy, and she was a Croatian lady. She refused to answer yes or no as to whether or not Evelyn was possibly unalive before she got into the trash can. And she basically said, well, I guess there's another way she could have possibly been murdered, which the jury hears everything. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's like you got to outweigh your pros and cons, and if you feel like it'd be important to have the jury hear something versus you being in contempt, I say go for it. And she did. She went all the way in, like she dove right into it. But how the heck does she keep it? I don't know. She just came with like a new lie right off the bat. It's like somebody confronts her on a lie and she's like, yeah, blah, 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 another lie. And then so the person's like, so, well, but wait, yesterday you said this and this. And then she's like, oh, I said that because I was being forced to. Or like, like it instantly just flows together. Like, Jesus, like you have some kind of imagination to be able to like come up with all these stories and have them all. I can't. Anyways, I gotta go to work. You guys have a great rest of your day. Great. And it's Wednesday. It's hump day. I almost forgot. It's hump day. See you guys later. Bicycle.